इस महान आदमी का हम पर इतना कर्ज है कि ये वीडियो शेयर करना हम सबका फर्ज है।
Here, go back to the PPT. PPT. So here you see, it is like a food train. When you eat the food travels like the train. When the train pass by, while in the travel, train keeps on stopping in the station, and the passenger keeps on downloading the passengers. So it is like a food train. So here the food, when it travels through this whole track, it keeps on downloading the passengers. Means the particle of the food, right? So food has to travel at a particular speed. So that is the why, for example, grains, the God has covered with many layers, right? Outer bran, then inner layer, then again layer, then another layer. Because when it is on that many layer, and then when you eat it, it will travel at a particular speed. Because here you see, while she was opening, there were many layers. So this means she will take a particular amount of time to open it. Whereas you could open it instantly in maybe 1/3 of the time which we spend. So the amount of time it takes to open, that is what happens when you eat a particular food. Your body is opening. It is as if the train is distributing the food train, while it is traveling through the railway track of your stomach, of your intestine, right? So now, but what is happening, that if there is no outer layer, no second layer, no third layer, the food will directly get absorbed, right? As if the whole train, every passenger gets down on the very first station itself, right? The train, all the passengers don't get down on the first station, right? If every station, few of the passengers, they get down. Similarly, when you eat anything, all the food do not get down in one station or in one part of the stomach. While the food is traveling, the passenger, that is a particle of the food, they keeps on distributing in the whole track till the end. And means till the colon, right? Colon before the anus, till the colon, it keeps on distributing. And then this means the whole microbiota of the stomach is having equal amount of food for each of the bacteria. Equal. Now you see, like in India, either people are very rich or people are very poor. When such kind of situation happens, somebody is having abundance of food, somebody is having no food at all. Then comes the conflict, then comes the battle, then comes the war. When everybody is equal, the chances of peace will be more. So when you are eating something, after refining it, after too much of processing it, it is like that all the food is distributed in the first station itself, and this means by the time the food should go out till the colon, they don't have anything to receive. And now those are the bacteria, they die. Instead of that, what comes, we call it resistant bacteria, right? So everything when you eat, you ask yourself how it was packed. How it was packed. If you open it too much, this means you are again interfering with it. So this understanding of food science or the food engineering by the God can help you to choose the right kind of food and to choose right kind of method of cooking or not cooking. So, and then you will be more motivated to eat. Thank you. Thank you. So, you see, since the time the refining processing has come, is the time when more and more illness has come. Right? So we can but switch off that, we can again transform, because what you want to eat is totally in your control. The only thing is, maybe we do not know correctly that what should be really good for us. So what we do, we look here and there, and whatever is more pronounced, television, newspaper, big hoarding, we think that must be what is correct. And that is the first wrong decision. Now here, if this is not happening, if the food is not equally distributed as designed by the nature, as designed by the God, then what will happen? Your immunity will suffer. Why? Because the microbe which is interacting with the immunity, that microbe is a resistant bacteria. Then two things can happen. Overactive immunity. Overactive means your immunity is always over alert. It keeps on fighting with everything. Right? So that is called immunity, autoimmune. Your body is, your immune system is attacking yourself, right? Attacking your own cells. Or underactive immunity. It is very lethargic, it is not working. That is called immunodeficiency. Immunodeficiency. Your immunity is very poor, it is not ready to fight even if there is some pathogen, and this means more and more pathogen will make your body their home, and that means they will start eating your body, and ultimately you will get killed. So that is called immunodeficiency. Did you heard of AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome? HIV AIDS, right? So what is HIV AIDS? Here, not knowing what is HIV AIDS can kill a person. HIV AIDS cannot kill anybody, but rather not knowing about it correctly can kill someone. This part is very, very important. I want you to focus here. You see, in India, for every 300 person, there is one AIDS patient. AIDS patient means there is every 300 there is one who is taking HIV medication, right? In this hall there is about 1,000 people. There are about 4 HIV patients, and all of them, incidentally, I met also in these 3 days, right? So, are they really HIV patient? So, it is much more prevalent than what we think about it. Like diabetes type 1, it is all hidden. HIV/AIDS is also hidden. So, here the understanding of it can help you come out of it. The most interesting thing, HIV, a kind of virus, human immunodeficiency virus, it cannot cause AIDS. You heard correctly, HIV, a kind of virus, it cannot cause AIDS. I'll give you a proof. Thank you. So, if there is one science, it is called Koch postulate. And any disease has to pass through this postulate, only then we can say this can cause this. Any disease, to prove that this virus has caused this disease, it has to pass through this test, right? So, for example, H. pylori causes cancer. It has to pass through this test. Only then it can be documented that yes, this bacteria causes this disease, right? So, let's try to understand this. What is this postulate? This postulate, the first principle is that the person who is suffering from disease, in this case AIDS, and if you say that he is suffering from AIDS because of HIV, this means from his body the HIV should be extracted. Number one rule, right? If you say he is suffering from HIV, you can only claim if you can extract HIV from his body. If there is no HIV inside it, and how can you say he is suffering from HIV? So the first rule is, the first rule to establish that X virus is causing Y disease, that virus should be present in the patient first, right? Second principle is, you should be able to take out the virus, culture it outside, and when it is in good quantity, put in another subject, animal, and that subject should also acquire the same illness as the first subject. Getting the point? Right? And once the second subject also get the same illness, you should be able to take out the virus again. And again it should be cultured. This cultured virus should be the same X as it was previously found. Now you can say HIV causes AIDS or this causes that. This is for every illness. Whatever viral infection or whatever bacterial disease, they must have to pass through this test. Only then you can say this causes this, right? Now the interesting thing is, since 1982, when it was first HIV word was coined, 1982 and 1984, since that time till today, there had not been a single research paper where it is proven, there had not been a single research paper where it is shown that from the human body, HIV virus could be found. Till now, there is no paper to establish that in a single human, till now, one could find out any HIV virus. First, no paper. Since one cannot extract HIV from the body, till now, so there is no question of culturing it and putting in another body. The question of culturing it and then testing in other body will come only when you can detect a virus, or only when you can extract the virus from the victim. So the first rule, the first principle only, the first step only, it failed and it is still failed. So nobody could prove till now, there is no paper which can say that yes, we have found an HIV virus, we could take it out and we could culture in a separate dish, and then we have put in other body, and the same body, other body also acquired the same illness. So in the absence of this evidence, you cannot say HIV causes AIDS. In the absence of this evidence, you cannot say this virus causes that disease, right? So, but then why so many people are then detected as HIV positive or something? How it is established? Very simple formula. Look, formula for AIDS. In 1982, it was coined, those who are suffering from tuberculosis, collect them and give them a particular test. In that test, if it is positive, you say he is a HIV patient. If it is negative, you say it is a tuberculosis patient. HIV is not a new disease. Collection of 12 diseases which were already there. It is said these are the 12 diseases. If you find anybody with any of these diseases, you bring them and test for a particular antibody. If you find that antibody, you say he's a HIV patient. If you don't find, you say he's a patient of this illness. For example, certain kind of flu, right? You come, bring them and go for this test, right? I have a test strip, right? This is the kind of test. And even in this test, if it is showing red, so it is HIV. If it is showing not red, then it is he is a patient of this illness. In 1982, the list was only 12 diseases. 1980, these are the diseases, and 1987, it became 25 diseases. This means it is increasing. And these are 25 diseases. And 1992, 4 new diseases was included, including cervical cancer. This means any patient suffering from cervical cancer, if they pass this test, he will not be called as a patient of cervical cancer. He should be called as a patient of HIV/AIDS. Right? And then in 2008, 2 more diseases was included, and total number of diseases now became 31. This means any person suffering from any of those 31 diseases, they should be gone for this test, and if they find positive, rather than calling that person a patient of those diseases, he will be called as a patient of this disease. So HIV/AIDS is not a new disease, only the old collection of illness and one test is establishing him as a sick of HIV/AIDS rather than, right, calling him a patient of that illness, right? So, and this is a unique approach which is never seen in any other illness. So now here, important thing is, what is this? Here, if you see what is inside the test of putting a blood, seeing a red line, and then we concluding something, what is the mechanism, right? You want to see what is inside, right? So very interesting. Why I want you to know all this? Because I want to take out the fear from you. It is the fear which is selling. Right? If you hear the communication of the doctor, what they say, I know how deadly the virus is. I know the suffering of the people. If you see somebody suffering, you will run away, run and you get yourself vaccinated. The fear factor. So, the fear, you can escape, you can come out of the fear only when you get the right knowledge. Now, what is there inside it? How the test is done? Now there is a small strip, right? Here, you put the blood. And then your fate depends on whether you see a red light line here or not, right? So anybody want to test? I have few of the strip. Right? So you are sick or not is not important. What the strip is saying is important. But what is that inside which makes all the difference? We have to understand this. First of all, here it is little complicated. You try to focus in, right? Whenever any virus goes in the body fights back. For that, body creates some weapons, tools. And those weapons are called, what is called? Antibodies. Body creates some weapon to fight that, to kill that virus, and that weapon is called antibody, right? So, if the so if we find any weapon of a particular virus, this means the body might have infected with the virus, only then the body is making antibodies. Are you getting this point? Yeah, it is an indirect test. We are not testing whether HIV is present or not. It is indirect. Like for example, what happens? There was some kind of conflict, some quarrel, some fighting between the two families, and next day the police investigation team go and they see for the marks. Oh, if there is some bullet, this means somebody might have died also. If there is some gun, this means there has to be some fighting. If there is a stain of blood, this means somebody might have got injured. Getting the point? Right? Trying to see the indirect clue. Right? It is not the direct clue. Direct clue is if you see some dead body, direct clue. Indirect clue is you see some strain, lot of blood, must be somebody has died. Right? Indirect clue, direct clue. So here indirect clue, if you find some weapons inside the body to kill a particular virus, this means body might have got that virus, only then body will make the weapon. Clear? Clear till now? Now, blood is taken from your body and it is put here, and how to know the weapon is there or not? For that, the virus, a part of the virus, a protein of the virus is in this strip, right? The protein of the virus, it looks like this. Let's say the protein of the virus, not the virus itself, a small protein which is known to be, which is thought to be a part of that virus. Thought to be a part. For example, this is the protein of the virus. The virus is a complete car, but from that car I take one part, right? And it is thought to be the part of that virus. And this is the weapon. Weapon in for the body, what is the name? Antibody, right? It is in the blood. It is in the blood. So when you put it, this weapon, if it fits this protein, this means this weapon and this protein fit. This means this protein belongs to HIV. This means his body might have been attacked with HIV. That's why the body has produced this weapon. This means he is a HIV positive person. Is that making some sense? Able to understand? Right? And important thing, do you remember my first example on the first day? That the people who are suffering from cowpox, they are protected from action, reaction. This means the weapon for the cowpox can also protect you from smallpox. This means 2 bacteria or 2 virus can be killed with one weapon. Yeah. For example, you have a gun, with that you can kill a dog, with the same gun you can kill a tiger also. Right? Same gun, you may not have too many tools. So, this test only shows that there was some weapon. And this weapon can kill HIV virus. Right? But it does not mean it cannot kill other virus also. Right? There is a possibility that tuberculosis, the antibody of tuberculosis and antibody of HIV may be the same. The weapon to kill tuberculosis and the weapon to kill the HIV is same. So every time you are suffering from tuberculosis, your body will produce that weapon, antibody, and if you go by the test, there is 1 in 3 chances you may be detected as positive. But that does not mean that your body is having HIV virus. That only means that your body is having some virus which this tool can kill. Right? So these tests are not definite, not sure, but what happens once the person is labeled as HIV positive, then that his life gets shattered. So why I am explaining all this? Because that will clear the phobia and the fear. You have the actual knowledge of how much diagnosis system is reliable. So that's why I am giving you one example, right? So if you want to know more in detail, because these are not just one test, there are many more tests established. But if you go into detail of every test, you will find some loopholes, right? So there is no concrete way to check or detect that which virus is that. Only thing you can detect is body has attacked by some virus. But should I call it HIV? Should I call it H1N1? There is no clear-cut test. So if you want to know more in detail, so you can read my book, right? HIV/AIDS, the greatest lie of 21st century. In India, it is published by Diamond Pocket Book. International, it is published by Scholar Space, the Europe's biggest publisher. So it is available everywhere. online. But if you want to read it free of cost, then you can go to my website, vishwaroop.com/HIV book. So you can read the whole book, and you will not only understand what is the HIV conspiracy, what is the theory, you will also understand the overall business of this virus, bacteria, diagnostic. You will understand the overall thing, and that is very, very important. So here with this, I want to tell you that the disease is projected to you in a way which brings lot of fear in your mind, lot of confusion in your mind. Since your mind is confused and full of fear, you cannot see clearly what is the solution. I just want you to come out of that fear. You can see the solution is so simple, it's kept right there. Only thing is you have to adopt it, and you can be free of all kind of, or most of the time, 98% of the illness you can deal yourself. And for 2% of the disease, there is a possibility you cannot handle, but then only 1% can handle one, and that is the God, not the doctor, right? So sometime what happens, the person is destined to die. Let him die with peacefully rather than painfully. So that should be the intention. So here I am going to talk of the 98% whose life you can save, and that you can do by adopting this, what I call as goal, the game of life. This you are having right now with you, right? So I have a copy of it. So with this, whatever the research I did, I condensed that whole thing in this one game. Because I understand that if I try to make it too complicated, you will end up getting even more confused. So I try to simplify it. So here it is 3 parts of it. You can refer to it. Goal, game of life, 3 part. Part 1, this part is all about DIP diet. The basic diet is a DIP diet. As you have experienced yourself also, that the DIP diet, it can help controlling the glucose level, the blood pressure level, the cholesterol level. It can burn the fat, it can do so many things. So the first part is the DIP diet. So now that this part is very, very important, and it covers more than 60 illness. And for example, let's say a person is suffering from depression, comes to you. How you will make the diet? For how many months you will ask him to follow? And what result he can expect? These are the basic questions which a patient will expect from you, which you expect from yourself, right? So, step 1, for all the illness, at least the 60 illness which is here, right, which is more frequent among other illness, for all the illness here, the step 1, the standard thing is the DIP diet, right? Put the patient on DIP diet plus, let's say in this case, the patient is suffering from depression. So here, you have to find, it is 52 weeks, 1 year calendar, right? 1 year calendar. So where is depression? Which week is depression? 49. This means he has to follow DIP diet for 49 weeks to get the result. But even if he has got the result, he has to keep on following for rest of the life, so that he is out of the depression for rest of the life. So to get recovered from illness, the time taken, that is 49 weeks approximately, based on my calculation, based on my experience with the patient, right? It can be 1 week here or there, but approximately that much time indicative time you can give to see a certain kind of substantial result. Follow DIP diet for 49 weeks. But even if you got the result, one thing is very clear: if you want to remain free from this illness, you have to keep on following the DIP diet, no doubt about it. Number 1. Number 2, for these 49 weeks, along with taking the DIP diet, what else you have to do? That what else is specific to that illness? And that is, you see, week 49, depression, adopt O. Now comes the role of this part. You see what is O. Sip a cup of, can you see this? Can you read it? Sip a cup of hot water mixed with spoon of honey and 0.1 gram of saffron as the first thing in the morning, right? A question comes, a saffron in small quantity, how it can make a big change, right? So that is what is the science, the true science, right? So only thing is the saffron, it cannot be patented. It is natural food. So even if the result of saffron is there in the research paper, but it is hidden somewhere and nobody is going to take out from the research paper and publish it in the newspaper. Since it is not there in the newspaper, it is not there in the news, so it seems that nothing exists which can help me come out of the depression. But there is one man who can do it, who has done it. What he has done, he collected all the research paper, he took out those material which was hidden in under, and he put it outside for you to understand. And interestingly, that man is here with us today, and he is Dr. Pawan. Can you come on the stage, please, sir? Welcome, sir. You have met him, no more introduction, right? So here he is going to explain all about saffron this time, right? Okay, Mike.